Hi, hope everybody is doing well. Welcome to another webinar from Apposite. We're really excited to be presenting something different over here today. I have with me Sid, who is an organizer for this entire webinar, and Amit Vincent, who is the co-founder of Apposite Learning Solutions, pretty well known learning and tech geek, and dabbling with ideas in AI and learning design and various other fields right now. So thank you so much, Amit, for joining us, and really hoping to do a really good one on this one, considering you're here.
Oh, entirely my pleasure. I think it's going to be a fun one. We're not going to do a lot of theory here, but we're going to focus on some real hacks of how to do some really cool stuff using AI. Let me just give you all a brief. When we brought up this topic of, hey, let's do a demo of how to create an e-learning in 5 minutes. The first reaction from the team was like, aren't we cannibalizing ourselves? Can't we trying to, isn't it our business to kind of do e-learning for longer periods and so on? But I think the way the industry is moving, I think we want to be part of the stream which is leading that change, wherein this is the new way how learning will be created. This is a new way how learning design will be done. This is a new way how e-learning courses will get created, and then they're not going to take weeks and months and so on, but they're going to take more in terms of minutes or hours at best, right? And with that intention, I think we kind of putting our heads together in terms of the first and the most fundamental question is, can we create a e-learning course in 5 minutes? And then Vishak and I have been putting our heads, and Vishak has come up with like, hey, there's a tool that allows you to create e-learning in 5 minutes. So I was like super excited to say, okay, let's take a look at it. And so what we have today for you is what you'll see in the rest of the session is a tete-a-tete between Vishak and me, more like a conversation that's going on between, let's say, a client and a designer. And so what we'll try to achieve in the way, what we'll try to achieve along the way is one, immediately we'll address the burning issue of the title, which is, can we create an e-learning course in 5 minutes? That is the first thing we'll get it out of the window. But along the way, I think the next follow-up question that a lot of people, including you and me, will have is, what if I don't like that course? What if I want to make changes to that course? What if I want to have it the way I would create it, using traditional methods? What if I want it exactly in that way? So I think that's some of the things that we'll cover along the way, and that should kind of last us for about an hour or at least 45 minutes. Otherwise, if AI could do all of that in 5 minutes, I think the webinar would be done in 5 minutes, right? So let's get cracking. Vishak, I am really looking forward to this. I know we've spent some time curating this in terms of how do you want to present it, what do you want to do this. So let me start by opening the floor for you, if you want to just give a quick intro, and then we'll dive right into our first objective, which is to create a course in 5 minutes.
Yeah. And trust me, guys, Amit is going to be timing me also. So a lot depends on this. But yeah, as he mentioned, this is going to be interesting. We have been talking a lot about, where AI is headed and all the benefits and everything. But now it's time to actually look at how we can actually do things using these tools, and, really what are we experiencing in our project life cycles and such. So without further ado, what I am trying to tell over here is, let me give you a quick insight into what we are going to cover in this webinar. First of all, as Amit mentioned, we're going to put together something within 5 minutes. Amit is going to be the client. I'm going to be the designer. He's going to express a request for me and to me, and I'm going to be executing that within 5 minutes. Post this, we're going to be asking some questions around, is this enough? Like, creating something within 5 minutes. I mean, are we satisfied with the output, or are we looking at it from an instructional design point of view? Are there anything else that we can add? And if so, how we can use AI tools to get those output as well? Post this, yeah, we would be covering a little bit into the way forward and such, but predominantly this is going to be around how we're going to use these tools. So, as we said, 5-minute e-learning module creation. Amit, I believe you have a requirement for me, and what would that requirement be?
Yeah, so Vishak, I have, I have a request where I need to create anti-bribery training module for a sales team, and the client has a requirement that we need to get it out in less than a week.
Wow.
What do you have to offer that I can see in the next 1 hour, and then if there are any changes needed, I have at least about a day or two to fine tune it,
Okay.
and I want to beat uh, the the timeline set by the client for a week and try to deliver the client in the next 2 days. So I'm going to time you. If you are going to say that you're going to create in 5 minutes a basic e-learning course, right? Let's see if you can do it. I have my timer on, so you tell me when to get started, and we'll time you.
Sure thing. So I guess what Amit is saying is his compliance team has come to him and they want an e-learning module created for their sales team, to kind of explain about what are the various anti-bribery principles and best practices and stuff that they need to keep in mind. So this is it. Um, Time starts now, Amit. Let's see how this goes.
Okay, let's get started. I'll Vishak, if you can keep doing some commentary along the way on what you're doing, how you're doing, which tool you're using, why do you like it. So I think that'll really help me and the folks who are watching this as well.
Definitely. So I have a collection of tools that I have identified, starting with some that take a lot of effort and some that are really easy. One such tool over here, this is called Mindsmith, and my dear friend Ethan Webb, who is the co-founder for the company, has graciously allowed me to kind of use this, show you how this tool kind of works. So this is the interface. Basically, it's a web-based interface. You can create a new lesson or a new course. So in this case, I'm going to create a new course. In fact, you can see that I have created one already to a certain extent, but I'm going to show you how this thing works. Let's see. I have to create a new course, and I get a window over here. Here I can say start from scratch, or I can generate from your instructions. This is what I'm going to use. But just to let you know, if I select import document, then if I have a policy document, then I can use this particular option to make sure that the content is preserved. There is no AI generated additional content that brings in. Sometimes these policy documents have legalese, so we need to kind of be very careful about how we use these AI tools. So I'm gonna, in this case, Amit has come to me with a very direct, very brief requirement. Doesn't have much details. I need to create a course, so I'm gonna just select start with my instructions, and let me just see if I can say create a micro learning module anti bribery that sales. That's it. I'm not going to put anything else, but there is a lot of there are a lot of options where I can enter specific objectives, define what the learner is like, define the tone of the language, writing style. If I have a content outline, I can use that as well over here. But in this case, I don't have anything of that. I just have this request. So I'm going to go ahead and say continue here. Images, I'm going to say AI generated images just for the sake. I'm going to leave everything default here. I'm not going to change anything. Interactivity levels are kept at medium, language at English. I can go with additional settings things like, lesson length and all of that. But right now, I'm just gonna let AI decide, what needs to be done. So I've taken the default settings here, and I'm gonna click on create course outline. It generally takes about, I would say 10, 20 seconds, and it generates an outline. Um it gives me some initial, you can see how the image is like, there are mistakes over here, but at the offset, you get a outline over here, you get your topics over here, and basis these, I can just click on generate and I can see what I can get. But otherwise, if I want, I can create a blank lesson. Instead, I'm just going to click create. Covers the definition of bribery, its different forms, and all of that. Generate storyboard. This is going to create a quick storyboard over here. Now, this is very important because this storyboard can help me kind of figure out where, I would need to kind of add content, or before generating, see if the outline is great, if the content really matches. So this is where, as an instructional designer, I would give attention. But as of now, I'm just going to go with the default over here and say generate lesson. This is going to create a full-on lesson over here. The images are going to be created. But as you can see on the left side, each of the screens are being created one by one. Right? So this is one, all right, and I can go ahead and make various changes to the content basis. Select this. I can see if these are correct, but as of now, I'm just going to go with, what is there. On first glance, it looks pretty decent. I can get some interactivities. These are flip cards. The various sorts of interactivities that you can introduce, but this is basically picking and choosing basis the content that's provided to it. So there you go. I can preview this lesson and show you exactly what it looks like. And I can export the SCOM package to this, give it to our team, and they can put it up on a learning management system.
Sure.
Amit, did you have a question?
Still at 4.5 minutes. I think we have a course ready.
Yeah, we have the first lesson, but I'm just telling you, I'm just taking you thing. If you want, there is another, same thing as EC generator, where I have created the course already. And this, like I said, it just takes about 2 minutes to create. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll just log in again. This is another tool called EC generator. And same thing, I can exactly put in the instructions. It'll give me a content outline. And here you go. This is the fully developed course on bribery policies for corporate employees. It's just loading up. Give me a moment. There you go. Start section gives you the learning objective. What is the first module? Gives me the content. It's quite interactive that way. Last morale would be this. So Amit, I have the module for you. I mean, I did take some more time to explain, but it's quite easy. It's very easy to create a course now. But the question is, do you like this?
Yeah, so I think that's one of the things that I want a little flexibility in terms of, okay, I want to just review the storyboard. Don't I mean instead of just looking at the entire output or product. Let's say I want to make some changes to the text, or I want to send it for review. So, what options do either of these tools provide for that kind of a requirement?
So if it's something like this where I'm using Mindsmith, right?
Mhm.
And I have the storyboard over here. Okay, while this comes yeah. So this is the storyboard. This storyboard I can download into a PDF, and this would have screenshots of how the screens would look like. So this PDF is something that I can easily share with you, and you should be able to kind of, share it with anybody else for review. Similarly, for EC generator, if I were to like stop the let me just stop. Yeah. So here, if I go and I click on export, so I would be able to get an option to either download this as a PDF, or I can share a direct link to, so share a private link. I can send this course for review directly to someone with an email address, or if I want, I can export this to a PDF, and I have this downloaded here so you would know exactly what it looks like. So this is what the content would look like. And you can share this PDF along with, whatever is the links so that they can look at it and comment. So I would suggest, you can just share the link directly with them over here, and they can annotate the comments or whatever it's required directly. Same way with Mindsmith, where I can directly give a link so that somebody can come in here and collaborate on the storyboard directly, and make changes and such.
What if let's go to the next situation that typically that happens is okay, I don't want to make a lot of changes to the storyboard, but I do want to make some changes to the scenarios, right? So I don't like some of the scenarios, or I want to include some scenarios in there. So how flexible are these tools? How easy can I, how easily can that be done?
This is where I'm gonna kind of divert a little bit, because till now the tool, what you get is you get the course, all right, and you say that you need changes. So this achieves our 5-minute goal, where we can create a course within 5 minutes. In fact, less than that, with just a simple prompt. But quality of the content matters, images, everything else, related to the content matters, compliance related to policies and such. So here, what I'm suggesting is we need to use what I would suggest is a very competent LLM like Claude. What you're seeing over here is Anthropic's Claude that I use extensively for analysis and various other phases within a learning project lifecycle. So what I can do over here is, say if I have the storyboard, right? So I'm gonna save this to, and over here, and say upload a file, downloads, and it should be PDF. So with this storyboard, right, I'm gonna say that my client and is asking for scenarios within the learning content that will show sales tools on what are the possible situations where bribery can happen. So this is just a very generic one. I can in fact go ahead and check with your compliance team and see if there's a policy document that's there, and see if there's specific things within like geography specific clauses and all, that I can then give as further context within to this one. So now Claude is analyzing this, and it's giving me a list of bribery scenarios that could happen. Now, what I can do is I can take this content and I can put it back into the Mindsmith or wherever that's required. I can, in fact, tell Claude to uh, identify those scenarios that relate to the sections. So it's gonna tell me exactly which scenarios to be used where within the storyboard, which is it's referencing the PDF and telling me that this is where I need to use. So I can do this. I can take it back to the authoring tool and plug it into those respective storyboard elements, and I can get my scenarios done over there.
Cool. Let's talk about the design, visual design for a minute, Vishak, because all of this kind of takes care from the instructional design. It takes care of your scenarios, so it makes sure that it maps your learning goals and so on. And we'll get to the learning effectiveness later on, right? But in terms of, let's say, the visual design that your course created in 5 minutes, right? It doesn't map to my client's organizational branding, right? Or what what can you what can you do to in a short span of time that will address the brand related issue, or at least the visual issue.
So this is what we had covered, and I think we're just going through the scenarios. Specifically, like, no, with respect to the company brand guidelines, Amit, like,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, okay. So in this case, right, obviously I would need some specific guidelines information from the company, and I would be asking the team to get me that. Like I would check with the visual team. But right now, for the sake of this one, I have a prompt that I'm just copying. And what I do is say similar to this. Let me try out another one itself where here is the prompt. So I need to customize our anti-bribery training module to match our secondary company brand guidelines. I've given the appropriate colors and such. So, and I need to kind of give the storyboard again, just to kind of make sure that, again, sorry. Oh, I'm not. Wait. I have a lot of files. I'm sorry. Yeah, storyboard anti-bribery. So now if I were to do this again, I'm taking a slightly longer route, because if I want, I can quickly go over here to Mindsmith and let's say I want to change the theme, right?
yeah.
So I can click over here, and regarding those what do you call it, the color codes that I got based on our company color palette and such, I can select the decide. I can give the hex codes over here, and that should automatically change the entire theme everywhere across the line. And once that is set, and if I move and if I click on continue generation, all the assets that will be created would be following that particular color codes. And of course, I mean, along with this, I can while I'm generating, right, I can define what is the tone. So if there is a company preferred professional yet, slightly casual, something like that. If there is a tone that's defined within the company communication guidelines, I can define that over here. And that should take care of the language, even the writing style. Is it professional academic, or is it like, being more narrative? So there is a certain level of control that we get from here. But what I'm trying to say is, say if we were to do something like this, then why I keep going back to Claude is because Claude has a token window which is way larger than these AI tools. So somehow, the kind of intelligence that it brings into the responses is really amazing. And I've been seeing this in my work. So this is one way in which we can understand. It'll give you specific instances of how to revise the text. What are the specific places that we need to go ahead and change the content. So a very detailed analysis and pointed this thing of where all the changes need to be made in terms of the branding. Now
Then you
this,
go to
yeah,
that tool and whichever tool you use, and then make those changes based on his recommendations.
that's correct.
That's
That's
correct.
correct.
So it's more like it's like your senior, a peer, right, who's looking at your work, right? But you don't have a human, right? Here you have an AI peer who's kind of helping you out, telling you what the right visuals for which particular place should be. So this is cool. What about you spoke a little bit about the narrative style or the tone, right? Uh,
Right.
we have clients who are in the US, we have clients who are in the UK. What about total change of style in the style itself? So how does this accommodate for that, or does it even?
Within the tone itself, this directly feeds into the AI. So if I were to given that user, what would you say, native British tone to, and if I click on continue generation, then that's the thing sometimes create. Because I have no way of saying how the language would work over here. That would require a definite review from somebody else. But yes, the features are there. And I must remind Amit, these tools are there. They are in their native stages. You do see that there are some cases where it really doesn't, flow in. So that's where that human oversight, we really need to kind of pay attention to what is being generated by AI, and then make sure that we use our own critical thinking and intelligence to see if it's actually making sense.
Now, for now, right?
Yeah. Yeah, this and EC generator are two tools that are really good at creating something very fast. In fact, let me just show you how for EC generator, at least when you use the AI course builder, it's a very structured way in which it lets you figure out exactly what courses and how the objectives and all that need to be tied in. So give me one. Oops, I think I ran out of the trial this thing. Used it most. But yeah,
Let's pivot for a minute and talk about one of the concerns that many of us would have is, and I do have as well, is one of the advantages of using instructional designers, and in the conversation between human versus AI is that we are able to gauge the learning effectiveness. So with this, and this is something that I brought up earlier, how do you measure learning effectiveness of a particular course that is created in less than 5 minutes versus something that's been thought through by by seasoned instructional designers? So one, can you measure the learning effectiveness? And two, how would you compare you know human versus AI?
got it. Again, so this is I guess this is what you're asking. How would we know if this training would be actually effective, right? So again, we need to know about who we are designing this course for, which would give us clarity into exactly whether the content really makes sense or not. So now, say for example, again, I go back to Claude and I use the, let me go back and take the same one itself, customizing for brand. And since the storyboard is already attached over here, I'm gonna give this particular prompt here. So if you can see this prompt, what it says that I'm giving some facts over here based on my understanding of what a previous course, or whatever, like this a previous instance of the course would have been getting, right, like poor engagement factor. So some sort of an assumption made over here, but generally if I can go back and check on the LMS on existing courses and see how they are doing, I can give that over here, and then I'm gonna ask the LMS, the LLM to kind of analyze the current module design and provide recommendations to improve effectiveness. First of all, to identify potential engagement issues in the current design, suggest evidence-based approaches to improve knowledge retention, recommend specific interaction types that would increase engagement, propose an improved assessment strategy that makes better, um, understanding. So, basis this, I'm gonna hit enter and see what it's gonna give me. So basis this, right? It gives me specific uh, instances of what, like for example, how much time is being spent on those existing ones, and then basis this, it gives me some evidence-based approaches, like break the training into smaller segments, include more knowledge checks between the segments, send follow-up scenario challenges 1 week, 1 month. So this is something like, we are keeping the learning continuous over here. Similarly, utilize scenario-based learning with branching narratives, and it gives you the research basis of why. And if I were to question it to give me the links to these studies, it will give me the links, and I can go and verify whether it's hallucinating or not. Till now, I've been using this tool quite confidently. I've been checking my sources from here and seems to be doing a really good job. So yeah. So as you can see, Amit, you can see that it gives you a lot of data points that you will have to obviously take and compare it with the course currently there and see how we can maybe improve it. And this is one thing that we can suggest to our clients and the L&D teams, to say that maybe we are not looking at this course from this lens, and maybe we should try and look at it from this lens, like social learning, or how it's connecting emotions through storytelling, these kind of things. So I hope I answered your question. I mean, it's
You did.
um
You definitely did. And I think this is one of the most interesting things that instructional designers and learning designers can benefit from. Um, Earlier, you would create these courses, and the only way to validate, or the only period that would validate, whether a course is effective, is after it goes to the learner. You get this initial feedback that, hey, it sucks, or it's great, or whatever, right? And yes, I was able to remember. Or you get performance reports from the organization saying that, hey, yes, this training has really improved the employee's performance. Uh, but again, that is post facto, right?
yeah,
But I
yeah,
think what we're able to bring in with these AI tools is able to basically crash the timeline, one, and two is bring that kind of analysis early on and during the development stage, which is extremely important. So because that is the time you get to make changes. So as clients, as learning designers, it becomes so important for us to know that, hey, we're doing something we think is the right stuff, but who's going to validate it? Now you have this mechanism where you take this, put your whole course here, and you say that, okay, based on all the research that's happening around the world, all the research that's happening across many years, will this course be effective, right? Now the answer is very simple. The answer is in just seconds away. So I think um, I think one of the key improvements in the overall learning development life cycle that will happen, even if you are following a traditional model, is the introduction of this learning effectiveness. I think pre-live, right, rather than post facto, and I think that's one of the greatest things about using AI in the overall learning life cycle. So this is
Yeah.
great, right? This is phenomenal in terms of what this
I
will
actually
achieve.
wanted to add one more point, Amit. Like just like how you brought in this requirement, right? There might be stakeholders out there who are not directly related to learning, CFOs or HRBPs and other people who suddenly have this need. The compliance team comes to them and says that, you need to roll this out to your team. And the requirement is that I need a module, but are they looking at it from an instructional design lens? Is this going to make sense in the long term? So when a requirement comes like this, if I can use a tool and give these kind of insights to them, saying that instead of just rolling out a module like this, let's look at it from, as a program, maybe keep giving little more tidbits as we go ahead into the future. So it really helps when I talk to, my clients.
Yeah, and this gives the power to the client, right? I mean, now the client, after getting a course, right, can really evaluate for themselves, right, to run this storyboard through an AI tool, and then at least get some analysis of whether this course is going to work for their organization or not, right?
Right.
Rather than just relying on the learning developer to say, hey, this is going to be great, right? Not how, right? We won't know until we have a completion rate of around 60%, right?
Right.
um, but this kind of gives more power to the client. So yes, this is an important introduction that should happen in learning lifecycle if it is not happening already. And whether you follow the traditional development model, you follow the AI model, I think it should all culminate to this point where you measure learning effectiveness before you even go you go launch that course to your learners.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Perfect. Perfect. So, can we take a look at the developed course, Vishak? I mean, we've seen a lot of chatter here about how to customize each of this stuff. So, let's see how this actually looks in reality.
So if I were to take this course and meanwhile, I'll also kind of pull up my Mindsmith. So this, if I were to click on review, so this is what it would look like on the desktop with its own set of interactions. Um, so these are, sorry, flip cards. Yeah. They're very well suited for the mobile device. So looks really good when you're seeing it on the mobile. And yes, editing this is actually quite a breeze. So if there's any changes or anything like that, so this is actually a match the following. I don't know if I'll be able to get this right, but yeah, only one. Section 3. So I can also include videos within this. I'm just not sure if I have the required credits, but another good thing about Mindsmith over EC Generator is that I can develop the videos right within the course. Um, yeah, I've completed it, so I get the assessment details, how much, what's reason, and these details are collected. If I were to download this as a SCOM package and put it up on my learning management system, then I get all these details collected there. So this is what it looks like from the Mindsmith tool, and this is what it looks like. Let me show you what it looks like on the mobile. So in case if your sales staff is looking at it, these are the three modules. I can click on each one and start looking at content. So I can this is the first level draft. So as you can see, it's a little text heavy. Makes for good reading material, I can go in and start editing it and cutting it down into smaller paragraphs, maybe including more images and such, so that it's not very, but you can see it's this is what the end looks like.
But one thing I wanted to call out, guys, is the beauty of of having multiple tools or multiple options for creating the same course, right? Versus let's take a traditional approach of you using Storyline or using Rise, right, to create the course, and the output that you'd get is what those specific tools would give you. But now with the power of AI and with the power of these learning elements being embedded in AI, at a single time, if you need to create a course, you can input your requirements in three different tools, and you would get three different outputs. And what Vishak showed now versus what Vishak showed in the Mindsmith tool are on the same topic. But my eyes like really what Easy Generator is showing, right? It's more cleaner. It's the imagery is it's much more appealing. So if I am a learning developer and I have a requirement that I need to create, so I just put this into three different tools and just pick the best option and go run with it, right? So I think that's the flexibility that that we as learning developers get right now. That's the flexibility that we can offer our clients, saying that, hey, while you're in a meeting, while you're in a solution meeting itself, right? You want the client's asking a requirement, and you immediately, have a full-blown course by the end of the meeting, and say that, okay, this is something that you wanted, right? Now, that becomes the base, right? So the trouble of presenting something after 4 weeks or 5 weeks to and just the prototype, and then the client saying I don't like it, that entire thing is crashed and brought to in a matter of an hour, where you present something that, hey, is this something that you like, something that you don't like. They say, no, this is entirely away from what I was thinking. Then you now get to choose whether developing a learning course using an AI tool is your preferred option or not, right? Or then you have a very clear direction which says that maybe the client requires something very, very customized, something very, very specific, which I may or may not be able to achieve with AI. So at least it gives you a sense of direction of how to go. But there are many instances which you'll all agree that clients are very happy with at least a basic form of e-learning, because they might not have anything at all, right? So I think in those cases, you get to save a lot of time. You get to save a lot of your client's time as well, right? So I think that's pretty much the use case that we're trying to drive. That this is probably not going to take away a lot of what we're doing. It's just going to change the way we're going to do things, right? The traditional way of taking the requirements, building a prototype, then creating a storyboard, that is going to go away hopefully soon. But the new way of ideate, build, present immediately, then again ideate, build, present, and then move on to the next piece is probably what's going to stay in the future.
Yeah. And there are a lot of tools out there, Amit. Like, this is just a few that I've curated. There are so many out there that, like, for example, this is I just created a sample, policy document, again, using Claude. And the document is, uploaded to this, and I can immediately create a lesson with that. So it's pretty fast. But other than this also, like, I just wanted to show you Rise 360 is another pretty good contender, because it has a large what do you call it, uh, database of existing courses. But yeah, you can generate, now there is AI integrated into Articulate, some of these tools, like especially Storyline and Rise. So it'll ask you what is your course about, if you have a target audience, and then you can drop all your source content, and it'll create the entire course outline for you and the entire course for you. So this is something that I was just checking out. I mean, it's not that it will work, but I just wanted to say that there are a lot of tools coming out over here. And I think the future is something where we'll be like seeing maybe connecting these tools together, image generators to authoring tools to learning management systems. So things take a very free flow approach. We just need to kind of monitor and see if things are happening, but learning will be created, and we just have to monitor it. Yeah.
Cool. We have about 10 minutes left in the call, so we'll probably open up for any questions from uh, any of the participants who are here. If you have any questions, please post them in chat window or in the question window, and we'll be more than happy to answer them. But if not, I think Vishak and I are going to have one more wonderful chat for the next 15 minutes.
Yeah, please drop in your questions in the chat box. We'd be happy to kind of take them up. And even after this also, if you have any queries, please feel free to reach out to us. We love discussing these things.
Yes, please use AI if you are struggling to ask what question to ask Vishak and me. So AI will be able to help. But Vishak, on that topic, how difficult if I had to implement, let's say, a chatbot, right, in the course. Let's say you created a course, but you want to integrate a small little chat feature within the course. So can I do it within this tool? Do I need to bring in another tool?
So Claude would help in kind of creating that package. Claude is very good at coding. So it'll be able to create the chatbot in there, and you would be able to kind of get that code and then integrate it into another. Obviously, we'll need another web platform like an LMS or something where we'll have to integrate that. But yeah, the bot as such can be trained and obtained using Claude.
Okay. Looks fantastic. What else did you have right for it?
Specifically, besides this, I've been also exploring Canva seems to be doing pretty well in terms of coding. I'm actually creating a larger course on anti-bribery after you told me, and it's still coding. It's like about 687 lines. So I'm like waiting for this to get over so that I can test what it's creating. But yeah, this is one feature that just came out, I think a few days back, where Canva has something called as Canva AI, and I can write questions, and like over here, I can just say create a short anti-bribery training. Let this go on, but you can see that I can make a pricing calculator. There's a lot of templates already given here, but I can any idea that I want, like create an app or create a flashcard generator, a meme generator. I think I should be able to. This tool is still in its infancy stages, but I'm guessing like as it goes ahead, it'll get better and better.
So how do we pull in objects from different tools, right? Let's say, hey, Canva is good at something, but Mindsmith is good at something else, or there may be other things that are developing specific. Let's say there's something really good at 3D animation, right? And I create something there and I pull it all together. So what options as a learning designer do I have if I have objects that are getting created from different AI tools to integrate?
It's getting better. There are some protocols that have come out recently called Model Context Protocol, Agent to Agent Protocol by Google. So what these protocols help is they create a standard for these agents to communicate. Like think about APIs between AI agents, so they can share data and you can get things done. So let me see, like for example, Gemini, right? This is Google's this one. Now here I can connect apps. Like if I click on a new chat and I say at, so see, you can connect to, currently it's all within the Google ecosystem, but I can connect to all these other separate apps over here, and I can create a workflow that will connect. Similarly, Claude is coming out with something where like if I say you can so see this connect apps. If I click connect apps right now, it connects to Google Drive, Google Calendar, but they're slowly increasing this where they will let you connect to LMS like learning management systems or a SharePoint or something, and then the information would flow between Claude to this, the source where the data, source of the data, and other areas in case you want to create anything else like a dashboard or some kind of an interactive module. These connections would help.
So there's a question from Shiv Prasad asking, is it possible to add audio into the developed course, e-learning course?
So with Mindsmith, especially, what you can do is you can create videos. I mean, Shiv, I know where this is coming from, where, like we have storyline modules where voiceover for each and every screen. That is not possible in most of these tools, because we are kind of moving away from that, thing where we need to have audio in every single screen, right? So it's better off where there are certain parts where, let me just show you Mindsmith. Anyways, it helps you create videos. So through those videos, you can have audio elements, and you can have audio separately within the pages itself. So when you go into that page, the audio would start, but it's not related to a particular object, so that, when you click that, the audio plays. No, that is not there. Not like the storyline version. Any other question?
So Shiv Prasad follows it up by saying the best thing is that we can do localization with the click of a button. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, we didn't talk about translation or localization yet. So
Very easy. Very
yeah.
easy. These tools. Yeah. It's just a click of the button that you can translate this to. There are a set of available languages. But I got a
Do you do
reminder.
that from within those tools, or do you need to take them out to another tool?
No, no, directly within the tool itself, you can change the language, and it will automatically translate and localize. Now, but the problem with localization is I did check out with some people who are using some of these tools. Like, I think Storyline, Articulate Rise recently came out with their localization thing, but it's not fully there yet. Like somebody, I think, German localization, and somebody from Germany who took a look at it, and it's not really, they were saying that some of these words are not what we use, right? And things. So it's still in its
Yeah,
infancy
it's really-
stages.
Will says the customization for my org would be important and the data insights. Look forward to chatting soon, guys. Looking forward to chatting soon. Will.
Well,
Okay, we have about 5 minutes left. Any other questions, guys? Please post. Otherwise, we kind of do a quick wrap and then hope to see you again.
and Amit, and to wrap up, like, I guess, your comments, I know that you are running multiple divisions, whether instructional designers, graphic designers, and various other people who are in that project mode. Any advice for these people on use of AI and coming days and such?
Well, it's a difficult question to answer, Bishak, because one of the first things that one of the first pushbacks I always get is, yeah, cool. I'll spend all my time trying to upgrade and learn this particular tool, which may become obsolete in a week, right? So I think what we need to learn and adapt is not in terms of learn a particular tool, but how to adapt itself, to new things on a regular basis, right?
Yeah.
That's going to be a very, very important skill, and that's probably something that the AI is also very good at, right? So is to adapt and learn new things, right? So I think one message clearly to all the teams is that AI is going to be the future. So if any of you hate AI, then please start loving it. Find ways, talk to your therapist, do whatever. But just the fact that AI is going to run a lot of our processes in the future, right? AI will need humans to run those processes, and that's a good thing, right? So if you have to adapt to tools, just please adapt to tools. If you have to adapt to processes, please adapt to processes. That's going to be a real important skill on One, how aware are you with these about these tools, and two is how quickly can you adapt to these tools. The good news is the way these tools are getting created is it's extremely easy to use. It's extremely intuitive for people to understand, how it's happening and how to, make changes, etc. We've seen ourselves that, we're able to create a course in less, or at least a part of a course in less than 5 minutes. We're able to edit it with that much ease, and it's just about, how you want to think of, how to achieve your objectives. If your objective is just to create a basic course, then, it takes just 5 to 10 minutes. If your objective is to understand how effective that course is going to be, probably that's going to require another tool, but a bit longer. So I think it's going to be important that, one, you understand, how the tools that are important to your line of work are
Yeah.
evolving, and how soon can you, adapt to that, and how well can you use that to perform your function. So I think that would be the message to all teams.
Yeah. Thanks, Amit. I know build awareness. That's the key motto for now. Build awareness. So
Yeah.
I guess we are at the end of the hour and almost 2 minutes. But we'll
Okay, firstly, thank you, Vishak, for showing this demo. I think this was very different than what we've done earlier, where we've given a lot of thought leadership into, how the future would look and how AI is evolving. But this is more in terms of practical, hands-on experience in terms of how do you do certain things. So thank you for walking us through that. Um, I think this is going to be very, very informative to all those who are watching and all those who watch this webinar later. So thank you so much for your time. I'd also like to thank, all the participants who are here. Thank you guys for your time, for registering and being part of this webinar. We really had a lot of fun trying to present you this. I hope you had as much fun seeing what we were trying to present.
thank you. Thank you, guys.
Okay. Any final comments, Vishak?
All good, Amit.
Okay, thank you guys. If there's nothing else, thank you again, once again, for your time. And you guys have a great evening, morning, wherever you are. And talk to you soon.
Thank you. Thank you. Take care. Bye.